Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Pillars of Eternity with me, Breakathon. Let's explore the Hall of Warriors.
I can do that. All done. I can do that. All done.
The crates contain the few necessities of a Glonfothan traveling party. Furs and blankets, sturdy hide clothing, and gifts of carved Audra. The hearth still smells of freshly cooked game. Grease spatters of blackened bricks. The table is scarred and stained from years of use.
Steady does it.
Slowly now.
Come to treat with the Three-Tusk Stelgaer. Though simple and unadorned, the blades are made of sharp and finely tempered steel. Okay, we've not read this yet. The Ethik Nol. The Ethik Nol is a group both fascinating and dangerous. An ancient druidic order, its beliefs fall well outside what the average person might imagine of druids. Though details are sketchy, the Ethik Nol would seem to have originated in the White March, as the order itself consists mostly of dwarves. The traditional druidic chants of the Ethik Nol speak of the people as a collective whole that created a necessary balance through their strict adherence to the purity of their line. This has been interpreted by historical chroniclers to mean that there was a time when only dwarves were allowed to be Ethik Nol. Residing now in Twin Elms, records of the Ethik Nol date back to well before the settlement had arrived at its present name, and in fact, some information places them in Twin Elms even before the Glonfothans arrived. If this is truly the case, the Ethik Nol are one of the oldest druidic orders in existence. Their beliefs don't conform to what is normally viewed as a druidic viewpoint. Sacrifice, blood, fire, and an intense drive for balance in all things, well beyond most druidic standards, pervade their rituals. Core to this is the dogma that if you want something from the universe, you must also sacrifice something into the universe to maintain the balance. Nothing can ever be received without something first being given. If you perform the sacrifice, your desires will always be satiated. The simplest example of the sacrificial balance, as explained to the author, went as thus. Say you're one of these Ethik Nol, and say you want your daughter's marriage to go well. You don't want problems, so you ask of the elders what you must do. You're told what the appropriate sacrifice is, and then you perform it. In this case, it could be as simple as throwing some coins into lava, giving the metal back to the earth. Sacrificing something that is important to you, right? The requirement is always different. You don't know what is expected of you until you're asked. The more significant request, the more significant the demand. And most things of true value must be paid in blood. I was told of people removing fingers, toes, even whole limbs. One farmer is reputed to have sacrificed his youngest son. Another good question many people have raised is in regards to the Glonfothans. Why do they allow such a potentially violent, possibly dangerous group to live in Ir Glonfoth? Why not force them out? Rumors are that the Ethik Nol are able to make from an ancient recipe a unique war paint, apparently blood-based, and are the only people in the world who can. The Glonfothans, it is said, have come to believe this war paint provides tremendous advantage in combat, and the residence of the Ethik Nol in Twin Elms is predicated on the fair trade of the substance. But we have seen that war paint, and it is a very good buff.
Margren's fire casts light in dark places.
So I can understand that. I speak to Simok.
Tread carefully, Estermore.
A grizzled old elf, his hair braided and dyed, stands at one end of the hall. His arms and chest are cross-hatched with the pale seams of scars. His crooked smile looks like another. It's not many Estermoran who are permitted into our sacred city. Betha must be feeling especially soft today. Come to hear your future at Tir Evron. His smile widens, exposing a row of yellow, crooked teeth. Or to make your own at Blood Sands. What's Blood Sands? An ancient place of sacrifice. He laces his fingers together. In a cave by the great elms themselves. Reston and his druids have been an integral part of Glenfathan society for generations, no matter what some of the other tribes might say. Here Glenfath has held its own against the Estramoran, because some of us still understand the power of sacrifice. Simok crosses his arms over his scarred chest. Something else. Tell me about the Three-Tusk Stelgaer. The boldest and fiercest of the 6 great tribes of Ir-Glenfath. It was we who first defended against the Estramoran, who came to shore 200 years ago. He raises his chin. We've always been the border tribe, and it has always fallen to us to hold the line against outsiders and invaders. Robius leans in with a whispered voice. The way they keep mentioning battles of old, you think they're the Three-Tusk martyr tribe. They're indeed fierce, and their history is rife with glorious deeds. I sometimes think they'd fight the other tribes if they didn't have trespassers to hunt. What do you do here? As Autumnfoth of Three-Tusk Stelgaer, I guide our tribe in all matters. He looks to the main room of the hut, where the others have gathered. I am in Twin Elms to confer with some of the other Autumnfotha about the Anolfin, your Hollowborn. We only have such births here on occasion, but it has made us more vigilant about our neighbors. One Stelgaer stretches, flexing its claws. Simok's eyes narrow. There are some of us who believe your Anolfin to be a punishment for the defilement of the Builder's sites. Others say it's a plague carried by the Estramoran. All answers to fit their hatred. There's no reason to believe a word of it is true. You don't seem fond of us Estramoran. His hunched shoulders straighten. I fought in the Broken Stone War, and the War of Black Trees. I saw my brethren cut down defending the places of the Builders, and I shed blood alongside Galvin Regd himself. He coughs. Now, the Estramoran seem to think they will find a cure for their empty children among our sacred sites. Or worse, that they will find sanctuary in our lands. His gaze darkens. I've seen what happens when they set their sights on Glenfathan soil. They're desperate. The best of them want to find a cure. The worst are looking for an excuse to plunder. And this worries you. He snorts. I've seen too many wars for this not to worry me. In my 250 years, I've led my people through 2 wars. Our borders have remained intact, and largely through the reputation of Three-Tusk Stelgaer. His voice drops to a growl. I've sired a dozen children, but none have been deemed fit to take my place. I care nothing for the legacies that obsess the Estramoran lords, but it is important that my successor continue this path. Is your role hereditary? Not entirely. We believe that the souls of our ancestors come back to us, that a strong soul may bear many more, but all souls must be tested by our elders. The Rio looked first among my children for a successor, but their souls were weak. Ordinarily, they returned to others in my tribe, the clan heads and their families. Ordinarily, he levels his gaze. But we share a tradition of fostering the children of other tribes, and the Autumnfoth of Fisher Crane has trusted his youngest to my care. He grimaces. As none of my own blood are fit to take my place, the Rio will look next to this bog child, the kin of another Autumnfoth, and my foster daughter, to take my place. You should be so lucky, Robius chirps. This young Fisher Crane lass is a great gift. You should be thankful. Robius's voice becomes a low whisper, especially given your familial feebleness. Bog child. His shoulders stiffen. I have nothing but respect for Fisher Crane, but their ways are not ours. The Orlans of Fisher Crane have lived in Thane Bog for 1,000 years. They're cunning and furtive by nature, which serves them well when they have swamplands to hide their movements. He crosses his arms, but this will not deter the Estramoran on open ground. Robius's eye widens at the remark. Nobody belittles the Fisher Crane but me. He mutters under his breath as his fingers stretch into talons. But yes, I will see the point that my tribe is wise enough to eschew the mindless tactics of a fair fight. He points at the warriors gathered near the fire. Our savagery has deterred the Estremoran from further encroachment. They still tell of our deeds in the Broken Stone War. But if a child of Fisher Crane leads our tribe, we'll lose that boldness, and the Estremoran will lose their fear of us. The child will be influenced by the souls of her ancestors. In times of crisis, she'll look to her kin in Thane Bog for guidance. No matter what I might try to teach her, it will not be enough. He considers you. There is a way you could help. You have the stomach for it. I think you have the perspective to see why certain unpleasantness may be necessary. Say nothing. This Orlan girl has the soul of a leader. Were it passed to one of my own offspring, our tribe would remain strong. A Stelgaer at Simok's side scratches his massive head, the Anamfoth's leg. He remains steady on his feet. The Druids of Blood Sands have a way to do this, and they understand the importance of a strong line of succession for Three-Tusk Stelgaer. Well, that didn't go where I expected it to. He's not one for half measures, is he? He gives you a key. There's a house in southeast Hearthsong, next to the river. The child will be asleep. Arrange for her to be unattended for a time. His voice becomes a quiet rumble. Take her, and bring her to Keeper Werda in Blood Sands. She knows what must be done. She presents you with the liquid essence. Bring it back to me. So is he planning on killing this child? Or just taking her soul? Which is basically the same thing. He told me all this. I haven't even agreed to help him yet. This guy's a moron. What will Keeper Werda do with the child? His scarred face twists again. Have you seen the rituals of Blood Sands? She will sacrifice her. It is the only way to distill her essence. The grieving mother draws back in horror. What evil is this? To murder a child over a matter of politics. Her face twists into a mask of fury. We cannot allow this corruption, this madness to thrive. The Orlan child? Go on. Tell me about the potion that you need from Werda. Essence. Bound and distilled into a liquid. Will have a little immediate effect on me, but it will weave a stronger soul in my future to issue. Remind me where I can find the child. She's staying in a house in Hearthsong. Follow paths to the southeast side of the district until you reach the river. I don't see why you need me to do this. Because I cannot do it without attracting undue attention. He frowns. I don't relish passing my own burdens onto another, but this will incite war between our tribes if I am caught. How can he possibly expect to get away with this? You know the girl is here, and one Orlan babe will look much the same as the next. He shrugs. But let me worry about this. So how do I want to handle this? I don't know if option 8 is going to lead us to combat, and I do kill him. Saying I won't do this means he's just going to find someone else to do it. I wish there was a very well help you lie option. You just get this stuff and you can get her to safety. But yeah, definitely option 8. I should kill you for this. The Stelgaer is at his side growl. Surrounded by my best warriors. That would be unwise. I mean, I guess it would be, but... I'm obviously not going to do this. I just don't know if I do this, if I can still save the girl or not. Yeah, I won't do this. I do not relish the deed, but 2 centuries of leadership have taught me that all things bear a cost. He nods once. Consider it well, Estremor. I'm not above rewarding those for a service. Yeah, no, your dynasty ends now. I'm killing this guy. He nods. This chore is regrettable, but it is also necessary. Have we journeyed so far to become tangled in matters of politics? Pettiness? Her face is carved with stern, rigid lines. We must not do this, Watcher. We have come to save the children, the future of the dear wood. I'll not stand by you if you do this evil. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. Don't worry, Groovy Mother. I wish there was another option for that. Hey, this might be the other option. A young man approaches you with a swift and purposeful stride. While you've never met him before, he has the same stern, wild look as Simok. He doesn't speak until he's right next to you. When he does, his voice is quiet. Wait, I saw you speaking with my father. Yeah, say nothing. He glances back at the room with Simok. He's asked you to sacrifice Vela, hasn't he? He grits his teeth. Maybe he's right about Three-Tusk Stelgaer growing weak. But if this is the price of strength, it isn't worth it. The tribes have survived this long because we've stuck together. He and I are of a mind. The tribe that turns on itself does its enemies' work for them. Kana gives you a sidelong glance. There's no sense in this. I would never hurt the child. My father will find someone who will. He doesn't give up on an idea easily. So that's the same point I made. I'm glad that the game is addressing all this. He sighs. But there may be a way to stop him. He frowns. There's an herbalist among the Ovates of the Golden Grove. Bleda, that's her name. They all gather southeast of here, by the river. She could brew a poison. Simok wouldn't know the difference until it's too late. There's an easier way to kill Simok, you know. His warriors would surround you in no time. Besides, it's simplest if this happens quietly. Why not just return this child to her birth parents? It's complicated. A child sent to be fostered by another tribe isn't allowed to return. Unfortunately, explaining that we're shielding her from my father would make matters much worse, for both tribes. He tugs at a thin braid. You want me to murder your father? No, but it's better than allowing him to murder this child. Let me guess. If Simok dies, you're next in line. It's not like that. The Rio have already determined that my soul isn't strong enough. Whoever follows my father, it won't be me. Fine, I'll poison your father. With another glance at Simok's chamber, he backs toward the door. Like I said, you'll find Bleda in the Golden Grove. Good luck. Well, thank goodness. Also, is this the first time one of my companions threatened to leave? I don't think we've had any other choices up to this point that would have caused one to actually leave. So that's another nice touch. I mean, despite how dark the quest is, I'm really enjoying it so far. They actually addressed all of my concerns. It wasn't just, you know, A or B. I guess it is still kind of just A or B. Sacrifice the girl or kill the father. There's Bleda. We'll talk to her in a moment. I'm just glad that all the concerns I brought up were addressed by the quest. The bark feels warm. The roots almost seem to twine around your hand. Cameron,
Hail, Estremor.
though his eyes are closed and his posture still, The man before you keeps his head aimed at you, as if carefully following your movements. Hail to you. May your time in the Golden Grove be enriching. And hail to you, Autumn Orlin, the man says with a bow to Haravius. Haravius' eyes widen in surprise. His one good ear stands on end. How in Eora did you... The man's eyes remain closed, and he says with a smile. Tranquility begets a receptive mind. He opens his eyes, revealing brown irises clouded with the beginnings of cataracts. With my eyes open, I see your birth form. But when I look inward, and with this he closes his eyes again, I see the Autumn Stelgaer. Let Haravius talk. I don't know how you can sense it, but you're right about me being the Stelgaer. What do you know about the beast? Why was I ostracized for just being able to assume its form? Is there a cure? Cameron smiles. His eyes remain closed. I know the beast is often sent by Galawain as a sort of trial. Many Autumn Father are tested by the Autumn Stelgaer. Those bested and consumed by the beast have their soul torn from their bodies and lost for all time. So, my tribesmen were right. Haravius looks crestfallen. His posture slumps. His gaze drops to the ground. Are you saying I have such a terrible power? This must be some sort of... If your spirit form were a bee, would you be mystically compelled to make honey? Were it a bird, would you spend all day making nests? Cameron opens his eyes once more and looks Haravius up and down before wincing and shutting his eyes once more. I am saying this is what the animal your form resembles is known to do. It seems you are eager to leap to your own conclusions. I would not normally advise one to speak with the circle at Blood Sands, but, given your circumstances, the Ethik Nol may prove insightful. May prove insightful. That doesn't need of right there. He turns in, with his eyes still closed. With he eyes. Bunch of typos in just this one page. He turns in with his eyes still closed, points to the northwest. Read the stone slabs carved by the druids of the Blood Sands. There are answers to be found, as well as more questions, but you must explore them for yourself. I know I could just read over all these typos, but I do like to point them out. Yeah. Is there any more you can tell us? Only to trust in Galawain, and trust in Weil. Both have blessed you in their own difficult ways. I appreciate the attempt to lift my spirits. Haravius grumbles. But that doesn't really help. Haravius sighs and digs into his ear stump with his index finger. But he has a point. I shall trust Weil, while something has something to show me in the Blood Sands. But what exactly is written on these stones? Much of it is utter rubbish of the incessant need for sacrifice. His calm countenance wavers as he says that last word with a spit and a hiss. But amongst the dogma are a few bits of wisdom on Galawain. Your friend will understand. Let's get going.
Builder's wisdom to you.
The elf holds a chipped wooden pipe. The sweet smoke wafting from the bowl makes you dizzy. Welcome, Estremor. I've got herbs and potions for sale. Looking for something to ease your travels, or something to make them more interesting. When she grins, you see her teeth and gums are stained brown. Ravi sniffs at the air, his smile growing wider with each twitch of his nose. Whiteleaf, he says with a smile. I once ate a porcupine whole while smashed on Whiteleaf. I miss those days. I'd like to see your stocks. Oh, a tiny sporling. Despite its off-putting toothy maw and dead eyes, this little sporling is oddly affectionate for a fungal mass. It waddles after you with unexpected speed. Yeah, we'll take that real quick.
Huh?
I wouldn't say that's unexpected speed. Moving very slowly.
Huh?
She taps ash from her pipe into the grass. Was there anything else I can do for you? I hear that you can make certain poisons. She takes a deep draw on her pipe. Poisons. I only deal in tonics that heal and enlighten. She exhales a puff of smoke. Of course, many beneficial substances can be harmful when taken in great quantities. That's just Weratha's way of keeping all things in balance. Really? What kind of substances? She leans against the winding tree trunk, takes the items off on her fingers. Oh, there's plenty. Concentrated Carogolin, undistilled spider venom, rotten blood moss extract, cave coral mixed with skyne bone. I'd like some concentrated Carogolin. She stops counting and scratches her head. What would you want with something like that? Shrug. She gives you a quizzical frown and takes another drag on her pipe. As the smoke filters through her teeth, she starts to giggle. You're funny. Here, just because I like you. Gives you a vial filled with a dark liquid. Whatever you mean to do with it, see that it doesn't get misplaced. Half that dose would kill an Amoa. Slowly perhaps, but surely. Taps the ash from her pipe into the ground. Oh, we've already read that. Okay. So we did get... Blood is poison. Dark fluid clots and oozes within the vial. Let us swore that the full dose would kill nearly anything, or anyone. I was a little concerned that I had to pick the right poison. I had no idea which one was the right one, so I just picked the first one. Alright, let's speak to Iswild. An elf with placid green eyes nods in greeting. Welcome to the Golden Grove, traveler.
Builder's wisdom to you.
Do you seek the wisdom of our herbalists, or simply to bask in Weratha's glory? Who leads your order? Hyove Arona leads us. She sometimes journeys to Elmshore to renew her strength, however. She's there now with some of her closest followers, in fact. Arona is a mighty elm among us. She's lived for generations. There are none who understand the world as well as she. We are fortunate to have her wisdom to answer our questions. I'd like to know more about Arona. Her eyes brighten. Why? You must meet her for yourself. She is wise and kind, as she has led our order from the beginning. Yet she walks among us and gives freely of herself. She turns her gaze to the great, twisting elms. That is what so many of us cherish about her. She is present among us in a way that the gods never are. Tell me about the Golden Grove. We're the Ovates, druids, philosophers, and students of nature. We gather here to share our knowledge and celebration. She gestures to another elven woman standing near the entrance to the grove. Many travelers come to us for poultices and remedies. Letta understands the cures and poisons of nature like no other. What do you believe? We believe that knowledge is found in the earnest exploration of the natural world. She tilts her head. We do not, as some have said, oppose the gods. We simply believe that we have found a brighter, more peaceful path than devotion. I must go. We've been to Elmshore. We didn't see Arona there last time. I wonder if we return if she'll be there. I really feel like we didn't get a lot done this episode, but I'm going to wrap it up here. Next one, we'll go into the Hall of Warriors and poison the father. Poison Simok to save the child's life. And we will go to Hearthsong and go into the house. I just didn't want to risk doing it before the quest was over in case Grieving Mother decided to leave. We can go there and look for loot. But for now, I'm going to call it here. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.